Announced the developments of his new task at his Kololo residence here in Kampala. Take a watch.
A joyful and healthy-looking former Prime Minister this Wednesday officially appeared before the cameras after he went mute since he lost the presidential race about 6 years ago.
The chairman of this foundation is Amama Mbabazi.
He appeared before the cameras to announce his new role as the chairperson of the newly formed African Global Security Foundation.
My Pan-Africanism is known right from the time when I was a youth. In Lusu, 50 years ago, I was the Secretary of Pan-African Affairs, and I have been consistent in my support for African liberation. And I think, Mr. Kafero, my pedigree on security is self-evident.
The African Global Security Foundation that was launched last week in Senegal has 5 founding members that include Uganda, Togo, Senegal, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mauritius, and Congo-Brazzaville. According to the chairperson, the role of the new organ will be to build the capacity of African countries to resist any form of external threats.
So what we will do is build capacity by utilizing as many thinkers, we call them thinkers, as we can. And we deliberately said of diverse disciplines, because we want to be all around, and perspectives. We are not partisan, we are not going to be working for any particular group in any country, but we'll be working for the interest of Africa, for the members of this group, and Africa as a whole. So there is therefore no possible contradiction between the existence of this foundation and what is already going on, like that effort by the Peace and Security Council of the African Union.
At the launch of the initiative last week in Dakar, Mbabazi was seen with his longtime comrade, President Museveni, after 6 years of not being so close.
You know, I've told you time and time again that for me, I really try my best to engage in the politics of principle. I pursue interests of the people, not my own. And me with President Museveni, we've been together for a very long time, as you know. There are hundreds of things on which we agree. Even when I stood, you had me in the campaign, I was very clear. And I have always advocated this idea that really we must do everything possible to unite ourselves.
Mbabazi, however, reserved his comment when asked if he can be the next president of Uganda, as speculated on social media.
And I said I would restrict my comments to this press release on the launch of the African Global Security as much as possible.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kampala.
And congratulations to Mr. Amama Mbabazi for that new job. To Karamoja now, where Karamoja's 3rd Division Court Martial has sentenced 2 UPDF soldiers attached to Olimlem Training School in Katakwi to 14 years in prison for failing to protect war materials. The 2 were jointly charged for removing 1,440 bullets from the armory and hiding them in a latrine and an anthill. Court also sentenced a 17-year-old border rider in Kotido to 10 years in prison for transporting a person selling bullets illegally.
The 3rd Division Court-Martial in Karamoja on 14th this month charged 2 UPDF soldiers, Lieutenant Milton Batebana and Lance Corporal Moses Opolot, with failure to protect war materials. It also charged 2 civilians, Santina Alingo, herbalist, and a boda rider, Peter Lochen, for transporting a person selling bullets illegally. The 3 pleaded guilty and they were convicted. The 2 soldiers were sentenced to 14 years and Alingo was sentenced to spend 10 years in prison. Wednesday, Lochen reappeared in the same court and defended himself that he was not aware that Alingo was trading in bullets, but the prosecutor, Major Kedi Jeff Ringakech, revealed to court that Lokech knew everything and he one time asked Alingo where she had got customers already.
Had the market. That one was a proof to court that you know better about the transactions of selling bullets.
So for him to be supplying bullets, it is worse than 100 grams of pure bullets. So we pray for a very determined sentence.
Court found him guilty and he was convicted. The court chairperson, Colonel Frank Kateraho, said that this crime is punishable by death and trading in ammunition has cost government a lot of money.
Resources in the same. Cap down illegal transactions in selling bullets.
Lochen asked court to find him a lenient sentence since he was not only still studying but also the breadwinner in the family, having lost his mother last month.
I will not repeat again. The court is to me, I will not repeat again. I will go back to the room. I will go and protect my brother.
The court sentenced him to 10 years in prison.
Hereby sentences you, civilian Rochen Peter, to 10 years in prison.
Reportedly, the same court has sentenced 2 instructors at Lilim Training School over failure to protect war materials. On 16th January 2022, 50 years, Corporal Santos Severino, who was the guard at the Armory, and 43 years, Khalid Musa, illegally took 2 tins of bullets, totaling to 1,440 bullets from the armory at the training school, and they hid it in the latrine and an anthill a few meters from the barracks. The state prosecutor at 3rd Division Court-Martial, Major Kedi Jeff Ringakech, reads the case.
Instructed him, ordered him to add more 2 tins of ammunition, and without any demand letter from the cross coordinator.
The 2 pleaded guilty and were convicted. Prosecutor Major Ringakech said the officers were a bad example to the new recruits and they deserved a harsh punishment to act as a lesson to others.
These are in charge of training future soldiers. So they can't be selling to these recruits or young soldiers.
The 2 accused asked for lenient punishment, promising never to do it again. The duo were sentenced to 14 years in prison but can appeal in 14 days.
Due to 14 years imprisonment.
Khalid Musa has served UPDF for 27 years, while Corporal Santos has served for 19 years. I'm Nafka Farida and Moriniga.
Leaders and delegates from the European Union and the African Union are set to meet on the 17th of February and 18th for the 6th EU-AU Summit in Brussels. They are expected to discuss prosperity of the 2 continents with a key focus on launching an ambitious Africa-Europe investment package. The Summit of Heads of State and Government, which takes place every 3 years alternatively in Africa and Europe, presents a unique platform to strengthen the lowering relations between the 2 continents, as we hear in this story.
European Union African Union Summit set to take place on 17th to 18th this month in Brussels will address pressing issues of security and migration, climate change and vaccine production in both continents. In an exclusive interview with Georgia's Rebolo Pinto Chikoti, the Secretary General of the Organization of Africa and Caribbean, together with Alexis Jones, a senior policy officer led for EU foreign and development policy, hinted on some of the key issues that will take center stage in the upcoming summit.
I think that Africa has naturally a number of challenges, but some of them are political. We do hope that they come to an agreement in terms of having more democratic governance and avoid things like military coups. But I do believe that there is a very good environment for good cooperation. We led the negotiations for our cooperation for the next 20 years, and the agreement seemed to be covering a number of areas of interest of our countries in terms of fighting poverty in our countries and fighting for sustainable development. I think there is a commitment as well of the European Union to fund the environment transition of our economies.
There have been a lot of changes and new political guidance and intentions to change the partnership. On the European side, there's a strong competition which Europe is facing in Africa, and Europe is trying to change the approach, the language of the partnership, really wanting to move towards a partnership of equals. And at the same time, Africa has been, dealing with an increasing number of partners to which China is really posing more difficulties for Europe in positioning itself and making sure that Europe remains, as they want, the partner of preference or of reference for Africa.
The 5th EU-AU summit was held in 2017 in Abidjan, where the leaders adopted a joint declaration on common priorities in 4 strategic issues of mobility and migration, peace and security, economic empowerment for the youth, and cooperation and governance. At the end of the 6th summit, a joint vision for 2030 is said to be adopted.
To matters pertaining to the health sector now, where Ministry of Health is still struggling to have more people embrace the vaccination exercise against COVID-19. Cumulatively, government has acquired 36 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines through donations and direct purchase, but the uptake is still low, according to the Ministry of Health.
World over, vaccination is looked at as the only effective strategy to contain the deadly coronavirus disease that has claimed over 5 million people globally and over 3,000 in Uganda. In order to sustain the vaccination drive that was launched on 10th March 2021, government has so far secured 36 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines through donations and direct purchases. However, the uptake of the vaccines, according to statistics from the Ministry of Health, is not impressive.
Today, our first dose stands at over 65%, second dose at about 40%. That is not good enough. You all know that the World Health Organization wants us to have a coverage of over 70% second dose. So we still have work to do together. Again, I must appreciate partnerships. Because of partnerships, we've received adequate vaccines in the country.
The government's target is to have 21.9 million people vaccinated, but only 6.4 million, representing 29%, have received their full doses, while 12.7 million, representing 40%, have been vaccinated with the first dose. To increase on the COVID-19 vaccine uptake, the Ministry of Health embarked on regional vaccination campaigns, and this strategy is still ongoing.
The Ministry of Health will continue to undertake regional accelerated mass COVID-19 vaccination campaigns.
According to the Ministry of Health, the positivity rate for COVID-19 is now at 1%, but this should not prevent people from getting fully vaccinated because another wave can occur. Adiana Kuti, UBC.
it is for your own benefit. Now, Uganda is hosting the international second Vice President of the Lions Club Foundation, Dr. Dati Hill, and her spouse, Lion Greg Holmes. The delegation is in Uganda on a working visit of Lions Club District 411B, mainly children's diabetes treatment centers at Mulago National Referral Hospital and Zambia Hospital. We have the details in this story.
Isn't a new one. It's not about where we come from. It's about what can be accomplished when we're working, living, and growing together. It's about speaking the same language, the language of progress. We're Ugandans, building Uganda with Ugandans, skilling Ugandans and developing competencies required in the oil and gas sector, partnering with Ugandan businesses to achieve greatness. We're here to build because at the end of the day, we're truly Ugandan.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 25 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 65 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 165 MBs. Dial *150 *10 hash or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
Are your children ready to learn? Schools are open. As parents and guardians, it is your duty to ensure that your children go back to school. COVID-19 prevention measures have been put in place to keep students safe as they go back to school. Not only do teachers prioritize everyone's health, including their own, but they discourage violence among students. They also ensure that students follow SOPs. Any concerns are reported to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Dear parents and guardians, you too must play your role. Ensure your children always maintain a 2-meter distance from others, avoid crowded places, regularly wash their hands with soap and water, and wear a washed and clean face mask that covers their mouths and noses. Please keep your children at home if they're feeling sick, and take note. In our effort to keep students safe, there are no visitation days or any other school visits allowed. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
National Medical Stores is a government agency mandated to buy, store and distribute medicines and medical supplies to government health facilities in Uganda. For Ugandans that we serve, help us serve you better by taking your individual responsibilities seriously. Report theft of government medicines and medical supplies to the nearest police station or to the State House Health Monitoring Unit. Do not pay for any medicines or medical supplies labeled Government of Uganda, not for sale. Do all that is within your means to stop all preventable diseases, including COVID-19. Continue observing the Ministry of Health Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs, including wearing a face mask whenever you are in public spaces. Visit a designated health facility to receive your COVID-19 vaccination and a booster dose for those that are eligible. Prevention is better than cure. National Medical Stores, passionate about your life.
Welcome back from that break, and we do apologize for the glitch in sound in the previous story, but now let's move on. Since 2015, Uganda has a public holiday on the 16th day of February to celebrate the life of Archbishop Janani Luwum. The then government attributed his death to a car crash, although it is generally believed that he was murdered on orders of President Idi Amin.
Songs of praise have filled St. Janani Luwum School in Bombolwero district as the school celebrated their patron saint, Archbishop Janani Luwum. The main celebrant, Bishop Eredad Nsoboga of Luwero Diocese, advised the mainly youthful congregation to keep their leaders in prayer in order for them not to degenerate into dictators like at the time of Archbishop Loom's death.
That's why we need to pray for our leaders, religious leaders, national leaders, world leaders. Kubanga Sitani bw'ayambula omukulembeze biba bibi nnyo, eggwanga lyonna liba lyambuddwa. When Satan strips a religious leader, the whole church is stripped.
Archbishop Loom was at the time of his death the Archbishop of Church of Uganda and is now renowned as one of the most influential church leaders in modern-day Africa. At Janan schools, the tradition of celebrating the life and times of Archbishop Janan Loom weren't even stopped during lockdown, as the school aims at strengthening devotion among the youth.
Janan's Day. This is a special day in Janan schools. Our Lord Bishop, because of the social distancing and movements, we never wanted to bring them together. But normally we celebrate this day. All schools get together, either in Kabalagala or in Bombo.
The celebratory occasion was also used to have a groundbreaking ceremony for construction of a multi-million boys dormitory. The dormitory will reduce congestion. The dormitory will help reduce congestion, especially as the COVID-19 pandemic is likely to stay forever, yet it must be contained through avenues like social distancing. Fred Kasibante, Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
And as Uganda commemorates the 7th Janan Luwum Day, a senior pastor at Namirembe Christian Fellowship, Professor Simon Kaiwa, reminisces the late days of the Archbishop and gives the motive of the song he composed in 1981, whose lyrics talk about Archbishop Janan Luwum's service to the body of Christ.
In 1981, after I had received Jesus Christ in my life, I decided to write a song as an everlasting gift to Christianity about Janan Luwum. I was the first person to do that. But the times were terrible, absolutely terrible, because we had a leader that was overpowerful, very low education, trained not to be a politician, or a religious man, or a kind person, or a good citizen. He was trained to kill. That's all he knew, to kill. Once he got angry, he could not control his anger. The only thing that would happen was to murder somebody. And that's how Archbishop was picked up from the Church of Uganda Cathedral here at Namirembe, and went to, together with others, to the State House, or to the house, the office of the President. And then they were questioned, about 7 of them, and then one of them was picked up after some time and taken alone, and some other people tried to resist, but that resistance was useless to a man who had a gun. And then afterwards, a soldier comes out and says he had murdered, he had killed the Archbishop already, and he was very tough and rough in his heart. There was no way, other people should not come, should not cross his face, because it might kill them too.
Pastor Sime Kaiwa ending that report there. Now, lawyers have been urged to seek legal redress other than resorting to address their concerns over social media against any judicial officer. According to the former President, Uganda Law Society, Simon Peter Kinobe, this will help eliminate ongoing attacks on social media between the bar and the bench plus court users. Kinobe expressed this during an exclusive interview with UBC TV.
On several occasions, the controversial lawyer Sani Malema Birizi and the city lawyer Isaac Semakade have been seen openly abusing and attacking judicial officers using their social media platforms, giving their patent issues. The habit of abusing and attacking judicial officers has also been embraced by some litigants, an issue Chief Justice Alfonso Onyedolo had to talk about during the opening of the new lawyer.
This can never be done in any other country. That you can abuse the person of a judge, make vulgar reference, repugnant reference. What has the genitals of a judge got to do with his decision? So, as the judiciary of Uganda, which I am privileged to head, it won't be business as usual for those who think, whatever their state of mind is, that they can deride. They can attack individual judges. You attack one judge, you attack all of us.
Although warnings have been manifested to these practices, nothing much has been yielded. Of recent, Justice Musa Sekana found Hassan Malema Birizi guilty of contempt of court when he attacked Justice Philip Odocho on his social media platform, following his dissatisfaction with his decision in the case he filed against MTN and the Capital Market Authorities.
Upon Mr. Birizi not coming to court to present his side, the court went ahead to give a decision which was to the effect that he had committed the act of contempt of court. One, it fined him 300 million. Two, he was ordered not to repeat the attack of judicial officers in the social media.
It's really just bad manners. It is harassment. Actually, even harassment, social media harassment is illegal. And many people don't know that. These things of waking up in the morning and you target an individual on social media, it is illegal. It is criminal. If you have lost a case, go and appeal. You are not the first and you will not be the last to lose a case.
However, lawyer Hassan Malema Birizi gave a deaf ear to these orders when he repeatedly attacked Justice Musa Sekana on his social media platform.
The Attorney General again made a complaint in the court and said the same person has faulted the order which had been put on, and that is where they issued the warrant against him to be committed for the 18 months for that contempt of court.
Any act performed within or outside court during and after proceedings that is bound to impair or prejudice the course of justice is contemptuous.
The former president of Uganda Law Society, Simon Peter Kinobe, who had no good words towards the city lawyer Hassan Malema Birizi, says this will help to serve as an example to the would-be perpetrators.
That erratism and idiocy extended to the courts of law should not be condoned by anybody, because at the end of it all, we all run to those people as independent arbiters with our problems. So I think the courts have finally heard it. It is okay to criticize court, it is okay to point out illegalities, but it is not okay to chastise a judge in the hope that he will decide in your favor.
That actually evades the independence, because you are threatening the independence of that judicial officer by whenever he's going to decide the case, he will be fearing attack from those people. So that's why we are trying to preserve that independence. People should know that, yes, when you are aggrieved with a matter, you have an option of an appeal, but you don't go for the person who has decided the matter.
Basing on the behaviors of some members at the bar towards the bench nowadays, one may think there are no rules governing the advocates.
The Advocates Act is clear on the conduct of advocates and the disciplinary mechanisms of the advocate. When you read part 1 deals with the disciplinary arm of advocates, part 4 and 5 deal with what is referred to as unprofessional conduct. Many people need to understand is Section 7 of the same Act saves the disciplinary powers of court. that even when you are disciplined by law counsel, the court has and retains its inherent powers to discipline you for derogatory or unbecoming conduct before it.
The major one, if you have not been satisfied with the decision of court, the option you have is to appeal against it, so that the appellate court overturns that decision if the person who made it was wrong.
Foreign Justice Musa Sekana's order to arrest Hassan Malema Birizi for contempt of court orders. People have come out with mixed reactions.
There is no conflict of interest. If I go to court and abuse a judge, the judge is not going to become a complainant in another court. You did it in their court, and that's the way contempt of court works. That the court that you have violated has the authority to charge you, try you, following the rules of natural justice, and sentence you.
We want to say that there is no war or whatever between Mabirizi. Mabirizi is a small man to the whole judiciary. If anything, it is the Attorney General who brought the complaint. It came from the Attorney General, and the judiciary had to do its work, which is adjudication, and it had to dispose that matter. So there is no war between the judiciary and Mabirizi.
So those errant litigants that are going to social media to harass fellow litigants and judges, let this be a reminder to you that the law will catch up with you.
Deborah Namamonde, Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Now let's go back to that story that we had earlier on introduced, where Uganda is hosting the international second vice president of the Lions Club Foundation, Dr. Dati Hill, and her spouse, Lion Greg Holmes. The delegation is in Uganda on a working visit of Lions Club District 411B, mainly children's diabetes treatment centers at Mulago National Referral Hospital and in Zambia Hospital.
The Lions Club International Foundation has offered support worth $10,000 to Chisoro district communities that were recently affected by a landslide.
What does that contribution need to be? It needs to be according to our means. Some will give only $100. Some will give thousands. Some of you will become Melvin Jones Fellows. But 100% of us should be investing in the work that our Lions do.
This is in addition to another 3 billion shillings the foundation has offered Ugandans caught up in disaster situations in Bududa, Bondibujo, Kasese and Bushenyi. This
LCIF is able to continue and expand programs through the general support of fellows such as yourself. You should take great pride in knowing you will impact so many lives, both in your immediate community as well as across the globe.
This was disclosed at an induction, fundraising and luncheon by Lions Club District 411B, held in honor of the visiting second vice president of the Lions Club International Foundation at Hotel Africana in Kampala.
Will you make your new Lion feel welcome? I will. Will you introduce your new member to all the club members? I will. Will you provide your new member with the information about the club, its officers, and our constitution?
Dr. Petty Hill and her spouse, Lion Greg Holmes, are also set to visit in Zambia and Mulago Hospital Children's Diabetes Treatment Centers, supported by Lions Club District 411B. Dr. Petty Hill also asked Ugandans to contribute to the Lions Club International Foundation so that the organization keeps on aiding the disadvantaged in Uganda.
It has to be money in the bank. So this is a campaign, we called it Campaign 100. What does that mean to me? That means I want 100% of our Lions to make a contribution.
The District 411B Lions Club Governor John Bosco Ntangare and his cabinet received the second vice president and briefed her about the projects being undertaken in Uganda.
411B we should be able to make a mark as people who can also donate to LCIF.
Good. I'm going to send you a form where you sign that commitment because we need to follow up and be sure we are moving in that direction.
Uganda would really like to have. Allow me, President Party, to plan.
They also assisted to induct new recruits into the club.
Of the world, all of us, lions everywhere. Lions everywhere. Long live lions.
The Inspectorate of Government has appreciated the authorities of Kijanangoma for ensuring value for money in implementing the Development Response to Displacement Impact Project, DRDIP. The projects under social services were given 15 billion shillings, environment 5.9 billion shillings, and livelihood 4.56 billion shillings, as we hear in this report.
Early this week, officials from the Inspectorate of Government, Office of the Prime Minister, World Bank and the district went to a fact-finding tour monitoring the progress of projects under development response to displacement impact. The projects, which started in 2018, have components like social and economic services and infrastructure, sustainable environment management and livelihood. The projects under social services were given shillings 15 billion, environment 5.9 billion and livelihoods 4.56 billion. Funds have been used to start up income-generating activities like tree planting, savings and credit, agro-processing, energy-saving charcoal stoves and briquettes making. Project manager Diara Deep, Carol Brenda Lorica said that a lot of infrastructure has been worked on in both the refugee communities and the host communities. She added that they decided to extend the project to Kijanangoma since there are a lot of gaps in the health, environment and education sectors.
But also now we are doing a field verification visit to correlate, to triangulate the information given to us in the boardroom and what is on the site.
Health centers which were supported under the same project include Panyadoli Hills, which serves both refugees and host communities of Mutunda sub-county.
Very happy to hear feedback from the district officials talking about community participating in this project by demanding accountability to ensure that there's transparency.
2 billion shillings from the project was used to complete Kijanangoma district administration block. Edith Aliguma, the chairperson LC5 Kijanangoma district, said DRDIP activities have changed people's lives since they have access to affordable loans.
So far 26 billion shillings, 57 million shillings from Dr. D project, and this money has worked on 15 schools, infrastructure construction, and we have also worked on 3 health centers. We have planted wood lots.
The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Patricia Achan Okiria, commended the district authorities of Kijanangoma for ensuring that there is value for money.
We saw the hall, we saw the council hall, which is a well-designed council hall. It's just a few finishes remaining. Otherwise, the project is good as 98% done. We then proceeded to Panyadoli Health Center 2, which has been upgraded to Health Center 3. We were very impressed with the structures there too. The equipment, the medical equipment has not yet been procured for the health center.
The task team leader from World Bank, Fatima Nakwev, called upon the district authorities to ensure that there is a sustainable plan for the projects put in place.
Very good quality of work. The community was engaged, both refugees and the host communities, and we're hoping to see it functional very soon.
Now, chief administrative officers have been urged to ensure that vacant positions for parish chiefs in different districts are filled for proper implementation of the parish development model. State Minister for Local Government, Victoria Rusoke, attributes the vacant positions to lack of qualifications by applicants.
Induction of parish development model chiefs is underway, although there are still challenges of vacant positions in over 5 districts, which may deter in implementation. State Minister, Local Government Victoria Rusoke says different ministries have been engaged for proper implementation.
You know, you can't carry the whole burden, yet you have sections that can help you to make sure you work, and you work within time, and you work effectively. Because the parish model will demand communication. We are introducing the parish model to increase the market, later on add value, and in the end get a lot of market in and out of the country. So we are the local government, we cannot become the Ministry of Works now to supervise the roads.
Victoria Rusoke says issues of selling parish model jobs are being exaggerated, but urged the applicants to have the right documents and desist from corruption and excitement.
But people are just excited, they think there's free money to move around with. No, it's not like that. And of course the parish chiefs are also monitored by the sub-county chiefs. So they are not autonomous, that there is no one behind them looking at what they are doing, correcting and reprimanding those who are out of order. So the system of local government is still strong. What I'm urging each and every officer to do his role, to do her role, to supervise, to monitor closely. You know, when you don't monitor closely, things get out of hand, and by the time you dream, something is already wrong. We are supposed to monitor on a daily basis.
The local government ministry is soon carrying out induction on the parish model development in all districts to ensure the masses are properly sensitized on producing in bulk.
Let's produce in bulk, add value in bulk, sell in bulk, and then we get value for money. It's very absurd during the peak, harvest peak, you find a kilo of maize going for 80 shillings. Someone working on 5 acres, getting 100 bags and selling a kilo at 80. But people need to be sensitized.
Relatedly, the Secretary, Chitagwenda District Service Commission, has also been arrested on allegations of embezzling over 1 million shillings for recruitment of parish model chiefs. The parish development model is among the initiatives set by government to organize and deliver public and private sector interventions for wealth creation. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Let's now take another short break and we'll return with business news.
Start your day bright and early with Good Morning Bundles from Airtel. That's right. Enjoy brighter days with 2 GB at 5,000 shillings, valid for 24 hours. Join that morning agent meeting. Close that online business deal. Catch up with loved ones. Do it all with the most affordable data bundles. Dial *175# to buy Good Morning Bundles from 12 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. and enjoy 2 GB, valid for 24 hours from time of purchase. Good Morning Bundles for the best day ahead with Airtel, the smartphone network.
Raising voices.
As a teacher, I have the opportunity to shape how children grow and learn. I believe in creating a non-violent school where children feel safe and respected. I promise to lead by example and create a different kind of relationship with my learners, one that helps them grow.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Your MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 25 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 65 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 165 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
Nyankole, muhango. They actually date. They bagishu, humoba fubalfu. It means king size freshness for all. Movit Family Soap is giving you a fresh start for your family. This soap is indeed so big. Chagwerera muwangazi ate it has a great kawowo. Onaba, no naba, kale no nabi dala. Available in coconut, aloe vera, lemon, and rose. Find the king size Movit Family Soap in all Dukas, next supermarkets close to you. Movit all day confidence.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay, or Bridge Schools. To pay school fees using Airtel Money for Bridge Schools, dial *185#. Select option 6, School Fees. Select option 1, Bridge Schools. Enter pupil ID. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short break. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business. The delay in commissioning electricity power in Arua has affected the commencement of some investments by business people in the city. Manager Project Implementation at Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited, William Nkemba, said Arua substation stands at 45% completion, while Nebi is at 51% progress, which the community appreciates. The construction is expected to be complete in September this year.
I'm impressed with the level of the work being done, particularly the quality of the work. The quality of the work, the speed at which the work is being done, and I am convinced.
Leaders of West Nile have continued to monitor the construction of Arua Power Substation in order to inform anxious locals about level of progress registered. This week, a team of business community, cultural leaders and city councillors led by members of parliament for Aivu East, Geoffrey Feta and Joel Leku of Terego West visited the site to interact with officials of Uganda Electricity Transmission Company.
Today we have had an interaction with UTCL, with the contractor. From Nebi compared to Arua, Arua was so far much behind. We were deeply worried. Even Honorable Minister Nankabirwa was worried. So I think the improvement that has been made, the percentage that has been achieved is quite remarkable.
It was not only the minister who was worried. People have waited for power for all these years. They are anxious. They want to see West Nile connected to grid. So I think we'll communicate this squarely to the public out there, that the progress of the project is on course.
The chairman of Arua Business Community, Moses Obeta, says there are investments in Arua that are already waiting for the power to be switched on.
I think with this national grid connection to West Nile region, it's going to elevate and give opportunities for so many other people who can be able to have capacity to utilize this power to generate business. Already, if you come to Arua now, there are already investments that are waiting for this power already.
Manager Projects Implementation at UETCL, William Nkemba, disclosed that installation works will soon commence as shipped equipment will be delivered in Uganda within this month.
Within this month, this equipment is on the high seas, so we expect it to be delivered before the end of this month within the country. This will trigger the start of installation works, and then we shall see the substations mushrooming out of the ground from the foundation level into the structures that can be physically seen. Our pledge has been that we shall deliver this project within the timelines, of course knowing the importance of this particular project to the people of West Nile in regard to resolving their power challenges.
Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited cites challenges of vandalism of installed lines.
We've almost come to the end of this program, but let's have the weather forecast for tomorrow with Kutesa Mili.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Kutesa Mili with your weather update. We are still experiencing hazy conditions in most parts of the country, but mainly northern part of our region. Though with that, we have rainfall around lake shores and towards the western part of our country. Seeing the rainfall report, we had a highs of 5 millimeters. That was across our capital city, Kampala. Barra with 2.4 millimeters, Mwendo with 1.1 millimeters of rainfall, Jinja with light rain. Seeing the satellite picture, we still have hazy conditions due to the high that over the northern part of our country, pushing in the dust, dry conditions towards our country, most especially the northern part of our region. Due to that, we are experiencing hazy conditions. The rainfall that we are receiving in most cases around lake shores and the western part of our region is due to the moist winds that are blowing in from Congo air mass, enhanced with the local effects of Lake Victoria, bring us the rainfall that we're experiencing lately. Tomorrow morning, though, we expect to wake up with light showers across Lake Victoria, some parts of the western, by northern part of our country is expected to have very dry conditions and bright sunny day. Afternoon hours, we expect a pick up of thunder showers across Lake Victoria and most parts of the southern part of our region. I expect to have light showers, but the northern part of our region is expected to continue with sunny intervals. Temperature raise up to 34 degrees Celsius across Karamoja regions and 33 in the northern part of our country, 29 in our capital city Kampala, Kawala Highlands with 25 degrees Celsius. We is moving out of Uganda, touring the few cities that we have for you across the globe. We are having Tocho and Nairobi with sunny conditions at a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius across the neighborhood of Nairobi. Tocho with 07 degrees Celsius only. New York, London and Pretoria expected to have light showers at a maximum of 17 degrees Celsius across New York and 29 degrees Celsius across Pretoria. Thanks for tuning on UBC. My name is Kutesa Mili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Millie, for that. And now let's have a quick reminder of our top stories.
Brought to you by
How to get points. Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Tonight, gas stations run out of fuel as dealers attribute crisis to Uganda Revenue Authority. Minister Katumba defends extra 3.4 million for the expansion of the Entebbe International Airport. Ex-Premier Mbabazi roars again, hates African Global Security Foundation. And Uganda commemorates 7th Janani Luwum Day.
Was brought to you by Everywhere You Go, MTN.
And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company on sign language. It has been Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. But remember that shortly it will be Soul Sisters, and that will be followed at 10 p.m. by Behind the Headlines. But also we'll leave you with the former Prime Minister Mama Mbabazi's speech when he talked to the press when he received that new role to head the African Global Security Foundation. See you tomorrow, but enjoy that speech.
Today, the purpose of this press conference is to issue a press release on the launch of the African Global Security Foundation. This really was launched on February 13th in Dakar, Senegal. I made a very brief statement as we are leaving because the text that I'm giving you now had been agreed, but we needed to get everyone on board. So now what I'm presenting to you, therefore, is the official one. And the central mission of the African Union, and indeed the United Nations, is maintenance of peace and security. This can be accomplished by all parties working together to prevent conflict by creating conditions that allow peace to hold and to flourish. This, in turn, can only be achieved when systems and mechanisms are put in place to determine the existence of threats to peace. The African Global Security has been set up by the founding member states of Congo-Brazzaville, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mauritius, Senegal, Togo, and Uganda. It is, of course, open to all African states who subscribe to its objectives and are willing to participate in it. The Foundation will be giving security briefings to member states through the established organs, provide insights to help members make sense of the changes happening in the region and in the world. This will hopefully contribute to the shaping of member states' foreign and security policies in the increasing dynamic environment and help build a safer and more stable region and world. The primary focus of the Foundation will be on member states' security